Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 16, and today we have special guest with us. It's me and Christy and Grimm Life Collective.
Yeah.
How's it going, guys?
It's going pretty good.
Thank you for coming.
Thank
you for having us.
No, that was my line. No, thank you for having us.
So, Grimm Life came to do a hangout session today with us, and we've had them in the store from 1 to 4. Good times. A lot of people showed up. It was our Christmas party, and if you don't know Grimm Life Collective on YouTube and all the social media, I'm sure, but I'm sure mainly YouTube is your thing, huh?
Yeah.
I'll let them explain what they do.
Oh, the Grimm Life Collective. Anytime we talk about it, we like to say that it's like the Travel Channel of horror. We visit real-life horror locations such as murder sites and famous graves, weird roadside attractions, anything strange, dark, macabre, Halloween-y, unusual that we can find on the road. And you just never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might be Disney. Sometimes it might be the crime scene locations of serial killer Ted Bundy. But it's all told from a family perspective, like family story time. Kind of,
Spooky all year long.
Spooky all year long.
Yeah.
Well, so, okay, what is your favorite place that you've been?
So, okay.
I think right now it's the same place.
Yeah.
It's a recent one.
So, every time we do a video, we find ourselves, at least, I feel like I'm the only, I feel like I'm always saying it. And I bring the question up to Jessica.
'Cause that's your line.
And it's, does it get any better than this?
Yeah.
And it always does. The very next video, the very next place that we go and visit. And we both collectively, funny, see what I did there? Would agree that the Pet Cemetery filming locations in Bangor, Maine, which is one of our most recent videos, is our favorite. I mean, that movie terrified the hell out of us growing up. And it's absolutely stunning and magical to the locations.
Now, was that your first time to be in Maine?
For both of us, yes.
For both of you? Okay.
Yeah.
Technically, I have been to Maine before, but
Oh.
not to Bangor, Maine. Yeah, I mean, I went in my youth, so I don't know if that counts. So I have set foot in Maine before, but I have not gotten to explore Maine. And I think we were there just at the perfect timing, fall, perfect weather, that spritzy, cold, crisp, all the leaves are everywhere, that beautiful misty, kind of almost dim lighting, you know? And
it was a rainy, drizzly day for 3 days.
Could not have asked for better weather. I mean, as a lot of people don't like that weather, and I typically don't either, but for what we were doing and where we were, absolutely magnificent.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, wow. That's awesome. I have to go up there.
Have you been to Maine?
Nope.
We went on motorcycles from Alabama to Maine 1 year to eat a lobster. And so we rode our motorcycles all the way up there, and then we came back down the coast and hit a bunch of states. Yeah, it was pretty. I liked it up there. Of course, we went in the summer, so it was hot. I think it was in August when we went. So
we love the New England area, and we get a lot of people saying, "Why don't you guys just move there?" We would if it didn't snow.
Right.
We don't like the cold. We don't like the wet. We don't like being snowed in.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, we went to New York a couple of years ago for right at Christmas time. It was like right now, I think, too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A couple of weeks before Christmas, and got to see everything, and it was cold, and it was all
okay.
It was great while we were there, and then we were glad to get on the airplane and fly back to the warm weather. And so that's why we moved out here. We moved from Alabama to Las Vegas to get away from any kind of cold and wet and all that stuff. So now when it rains, you enjoy it. You're just kind of like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then it doesn't do it for 300 days.
Every time it rains in California, we're never there.
Right.
And it only rains like once a year.
Oh, wow.
Just happened to be gone.
Our friends make a joke. Oh, the Grimms are leaving. Here comes the rain.
Right.
Yeah.
Every time.
Wow. So we watched a video the other day of you guys were at I can't remember what it was called, like the Satanic Church or
The Satanic Temple, I believe, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that's it. How was that?
I think
Was
they
that-
call it TST for short.
Yeah.
It looked very, very neat. Some of the furniture in there was really cool looking. But we just watched that video a couple of days ago. So.
How was that?
It
Doing
was
that.
absolutely stunning. And I feel like the entire time that we were up in Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, we kept saying it was enchanting and it was very stunning.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing goes for the Satanic Temple. A couple of days prior to that, we were doing this thing called the Salem Night Fair. No, it was after that.
Mhm.
After we visited the Satanic
Like
Temple,
the night after.
we did this thing called the Salem Night Fair. And oddly, that video had the most controversial comments to it, understandably so. And what a lot of people, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this because I'm just going to say it. A lot of times when we do videos, we're just there to document them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we may not agree with them or whatever. You know, we do a video on Ted Bundy. We're not there to glorify it. We're just documenting something that happened, something interesting that you can visit or something historical. And we have a lot of friends that are in the Satanic Church, and we both seen pictures of the place. We wanted to go see it so badly because it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And this one over here fell in love with the wallpaper almost immediately. Even more so when they said, "Don't touch
Don't
it."
touch
You
it.
can't touch it.
No.
And everybody there was so polite and so friendly, except for Baphomet, the fortune teller. I don't know if you watch it to the very end, Jessica gets a very interesting experience where he kind of
He
says
called
something
me
to her.
ugly.
No, he didn't call you ugly, but it was an interesting.
Ask your mother.
Yeah. He said it was one of those things like the fortune tellers where you put in $1 and it says, and it would say your fortune, but it's instead this one said a question, and it was kind of comical, to be honest. It said, do you know what kind of sexual position produces the ugliest children? Ask your mother. Yeah. So it was a unique experience for sure.
Baphomet burn. Or Baphomet. We keep saying Baphomet, which I think is the incorrect pronunciation. Baphomet.
I think it's depending on where you are from the world.
Yeah.
I'm from the South, so I say everything's funny. So, okay, who edits all of your videos?
Me.
So you film everything, edit everything. That we have Dante to do ours.
And nothing's
So-
ever scripted. We've been doing it so long that when we know that we're going to be doing a filming location, or if we're going to be doing a murder site or a museum, we have a bit of a formula that we go by. So when we go in and try to do it one take, but also whenever you edit, and you're so used to how the flow of the timeline moves, you tend to film accordingly to it. You know what kind of shots lead into the next one, and that could be the most frustrating part, to be honest. But it's all like thinking ahead without planning ahead.
Right.
Right.
And so does anybody ever give you grief or, say don't film or...
Yeah, all the time actually.
No, really?
Yeah. Do you want to tell a certain tale?
I've amounted a handful of, you almost want to call them fans because the conduct is so egregiously rude. They just hate my existence. They don't want my existence on the channel, even though since the beginning, we have been flat out forward about this is a channel of a recently married couple. Coming up on 5 years we've been married. So, we've been doing this since a little bit before we got married. but these are the adventures of a happily married couple.
Right.
Come along and join us. And there's some videos that I'm not in because of health reasons or wasn't feeling well or what have you. Or he does some things that especially take a lot of hiking that I can't do because of my health. So there's, let's say out of 10 videos, I might be missing from 3 or 4, depending what the content is. So when the ones roll back around that I am in, the comments are always from the same people because you can see their usernames, and they just hate it that I'm there.
Wow.
Yeah. For different reasons. Some people hate that whenever I'm there, we are obviously affectionate. You know, not like making out on camera or anything like that, but it's though baby ghoul. He calls me baby ghoul. I don't even think we hold hands on camera or anything like that, but because he refers to me in a loving way, oh, I wish he would stop saying this all the time, every video, and it's like, well, these are the adventures of a happily married couple.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have issues with, they want it to be almost like a television show where the personalities are removed and it's just the content, but that's not what makes our show.
Right.
So, for whatever reason, that usually falls on me.
Well,
yeah,
you're the girl.
I'm the girl, yeah. And
I get a lot of
but then there's,
crap, too.
I get it from the other end too, where, I have people, and anytime that I am in a video, then some people say they only come to the channel to watch me when I'm in a video. Hey, where's Jess? Hey, same thing with him, but for the most part, I think I get more negativity than you do.
You do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here's the thing. If it's the same people that come back every time and they're negative, they're still watching it every single time.
Yeah.
And
well, they like to tell me when they turn it off. And usually there was someone who was like time marking, time stamping.
Wow.
Every time. Oh, I got 4 minutes and 3 seconds in, and then the green-haired, can I cuss here? The green-haired bitch showed up. I've had people tell me to die. I have people have told me to, why don't I just go kill myself?
Yeah, today a lot of the fine folks who came to visit us for the meet and greet were all people that we haven't met before, and it was so overwhelming because there were so many people that came by with a specific message for Jessica: don't stop being you. We love you.
And I'm gonna get
even
weepy.
made her art and everything.
Yeah.
So it was really nice. It's a very sore subject for her.
We try to
understand.
We try to tend to the comments as much as we can because we know there's a lot of positivity in the comments. For every 100 comments, there's maybe 15 or so that are bad or what have you. So you try not to read the comments, but I did break down a little bit a couple weeks ago because it was just a small series of videos where it was like they banded together, And I was just like, at this point it's harassment, kind of jokingly, but like also bringing awareness to it that, hey, this does happen. You guys think we have this like perfect, glamorous life, but we also deal with this. This is another side of it. And I didn't call anybody out. I blocked, so you can't see who it is. I don't want anybody attacking anybody. But it's like these are things that we actually do deal with. It's a real issue. Mm-hmm. And the response was wonderful. I mean, I wasn't doing it so that I would, get a response from people for it. But a lot of those people who had seen that, because on Instagram stories are only there for 24 hours, so it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, well, this is what I'm dealing with today, and then it would pass by. And a handful of the people that showed up today had seen that before, and they wanted me to just know that they love me, and it was really, really sweet.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, Christy deals with the same.
I had a pep talk today too, so
same stuff. I mean,
yeah.
But here, and I tell Christy this all the time. Anybody that's doing better than you is never going to say anything to you. They're never going to dog you out.
True. Yeah.
So if you just think about that, I know, especially for women, it's a lot. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of stuff that Christy gets that like nobody would say it. They don't say it to me because I'm not really
or
the
to our
face. Well, and. That's the other thing. Our address is on the front of the building. Mm-hmm. If you ever really wanted to come down here and just tell us how you feel, you could, but nobody ever has. And like I said, nobody that's doing better than us is ever going to dog us out.
Right.
because they don't have time. They're doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so it's a bunch of internet losers, you know, trolls.
Oh, yeah. They say that whenever you get haters, you know you've made it.
Exactly.
That's what a lot of people tell me.
Yeah.
I remember the very first time that we got our first piece of negative feedback, and I posted on Facebook. I was like, yes, we finally made it. Somebody called us this and this and this, and I was so excited. So,
Because we are an
joking,
alternative couple, as, you know, most people who have likewise interests are. So, you know, I have colored hair, and we both have piercings, and he has tattoos, and we dress in black all the time. So we do get comments of like, oh my God, why does he do that to his ears? That's so gross. Those kinds of things. But it's never personal.
Right.
You know, just
Yeah.
people who don't understand the lifestyle attacking the way we look. And it's always like, go be jealous somewhere else. Or, you know, that's so silly to not accept people for how they appear in
Right.
today's age, you know, 2022 almost.
Right.
But when they make it personal, it's hard not to notice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got my feelings hurt pretty bad.
Yeah. Christy gets her
this
feelings
morning.
hurt sometimes, but,
sorry.
you know,
Okay.
that's
We
just
love
part
you.
of it.
Thank
Yeah.
you. It's,
So-
it's okay. I had my pep talk from somebody today too. So,
Yeah.
because I did post my story today about that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. But,
It's another side of the business, right?
yeah.
Unfortunately, that is
Yeah,
something.
unfortunately.
There's positivities and there's negativities, and oftentimes the positivities outweigh it, obviously, by
Of
large
course.
amounts, and
Of course.
you just try not to take the negativities to heart. But I wouldn't change it for the world, you know, being in all these locations with the
Right.
love of my life.
Yeah,
I
of
wouldn't change
course.
it.
And how much fun are y'all having, you know? And so are we. I mean, we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, these negative people are obviously not having
Yeah,
fun.
they're not having any fun
We're
at
having
all.
fun.
Yeah.
We spend every waking moment together, every single day. Of course, we're human beings. You know, we'll have moments where we get agitated or whatever, and
Hangry.
hangry, but you know what? We come back to each other,
Yeah.
and like, this is our life. We're living it the way we want to,
Right.
and
On our time.
I couldn't ask for anything better.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So, well, so where are you guys headed to next? What's the next exciting adventure?
Next exciting adventure. Well, we are still editing footage from our East Coast trip, for one. So those are a lot of the big videos are coming from that. And for the next couple months, I think all the way up till September, we're booking out events, which is really nice. But what's really unique about what we do, we don't have to really be anywhere we don't want to be at any given time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if we wanted to pack up and leave for 6 months into Tokyo,
Right.
anywhere I can point a camera at, that's our work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So on our drive out here, we passed a lot of things like the Salton Sea and a couple other places that I've always wanted to visit. I heard about. So I think one of the next biggest things we're planning is a Highway 10 trip across country
Oh, wow.
and then back, because we drive everywhere. And then the other one is, I think we're going to go to Trans World and then drive back and film along the way.
Transworld's awesome.
So excited.
So much fun. Yeah, you'll love it.
We're excited.
Yeah, you should be. It's awesome. It's great.
So excited.
That's in St. Louis, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is where she's from.
Yeah.
Yep, born and raised. And of course, we're going to see you guys at CreepyCon. That's not too
Oh,
far
yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Yep.
February, CreepyCon, and
Mhm.
then we also have Cult Classic too.
Yeah, we're going to Cult Classic in Texas.
Texas, that's right.
February.
Yeah, that's going to be a
I
good
think our
one.
next big thing is Season Screamings, Midsummer Scream,
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah, we did
what-
that one.
next
That's
weekend.
next
Yeah.
weekend.
There's so many of these
I
events
know.
popping up everywhere.
It's,
Yeah.
it's good. It's
It's a
fun.
Yeah.
beautiful thing to see it. I mean, they've always been around for a long time. I remember the very first one I ever went to was in the middle of nowhere, I think Kentucky. And like the entire cast from, it wasn't 31 yet.
House of a Thousand
I
Corpses.
can never remember. I know, thank you. House of a Thousand Corpses, because I think it had not come out too long before then. So it was Sid Haig and Bill Moseley, Kevin Forey was there, and a couple other people. I can't remember their names because he has a better memory than me. But there was such a low attendance because it was like 20 years ago, you know, and this was apparently kind of normal, I guess, that we were all just hanging out. just hanging out with each other, you know, as attendees and then celebrities, and just palling around. It was like the most humbling experience of my life to say that I got to hang out with Sid Haig and his family and Kevin Pori and like all these other people, and they were just so personable and so nice.
Yeah.
Such lovely people, and the stories Sid Haig had were amazing. And then nowadays you're always like, I miss that a little bit. Like for them, I'm sure I wouldn't think they lost money, but you know, attending with airfare and hotels and stuff like that, possibly because it was that small of attendance. I miss that, but I love these big happenings at the same time.
Yeah, I like both. I like the small ones and the big conventions.
And the last one that we did for, what was it? The one in California that we did?
The Midsummer.
Midsummer Scream.
the
Awaken
Midsummer
the
Scream.
Spirits.
Oh,
Awaken the Spirits.
Yeah.
That's
Awaken
what
the
it was.
Spirits,
Yeah, that was, man, that was
Huge.
awesome for us.
Yeah, that was so
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
That was a big one.
we'd been to several. We'd done a lot of the Days of the Dead in Chicago, and then we did.
We've done Flashback.
Yeah,
and
Flashback.
Horror Hound.
Yeah, Horror Hound was good. The one in Kentucky was real
Oh,
good.
Scarefest.
Scarefest, yeah.
Scarefest
They,
is good.
I guess their venue got remodeled or something, and they had to move it, so we weren't able to go this year. But because it put it right on Halloween weekend, I think, or right around Halloween, it was too close for us to go. But we did really good there, and that was fun. You know, it was a fun event. We went to one in Nashville.
That was
a couple
the
of
full
years.
moon, tattooed
Yeah.
full moon
We
horror
just
festival.
we just went to that, and
Yeah.
it was kind of like you were talking. For whatever reason, when we walked in, there was literally nobody there,
Yeah.
and we got to see everybody.
every guest that I
Every
wanted
guest
to see.
that we wanted to see, we just walked right up to, and then as we were leaving, more people were coming in. But
And
but
that's
it-
when I met Sid and Bill.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
that convention? Yeah, so nice.
yeah, there was some good guests there, and we had a good time.
Took me like 2 hours to get everything I needed to get, and we were done.
Yeah, and then we went to Texas Frightmare several years ago,
It's packed.
and man,
Yeah.
Have y'all done that?
No.
No.
Texas Frightmare? Ooh,
Mm-mm.
yeah, y'all need to do Texas Frightmare.
it's
Yeah, that's the plan.
It's a big one.
That's the one
And-
y'all need to do.
and everybody has a line at that one. And this past event, we were vendors. It took us a couple of years to get into that one, and
Wow.
then they let us get a 10x10 booth this past one, and so we were vendors there, and the attendance was like at half, and it was packed. So 2 years before that, when we went just to go, it was we waited in some long lines
Yeah,
for
it
that.
was
We got
packed.
we
It's hot.
yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, there was a lot of people in there. So, but that's a good one to go to. They have a lot of good guests.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is my question I ask everybody.
Uh-oh.
Anybody who we hire, I have to ask this question first before I hire anybody. So you just mentioned Pet Cemetery, but what is your favorite horror movie? Your all-time favorite horror movie? Mine is April Fool's Day from 1986, of course. Not the remake.
Mine's Halloween.
Halloween?
1978.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm one of those.
Okay.
And the whole franchise, really, I'm obsessed. But
Okay.
yeah, Halloween.
Well, we won't get into Halloween Kills. We could be here all day.
So my top 3 movies, I don't even think are horror movies, but I think one might be considered a horror movie, which is Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if that would make it my most favorite horror movie, but like it's a absolute classic for me. Like I die for vampire brides. I'm gonna get Lucy as a vampire bride, massive tattoo on my arm.
Oh, wow. That'd be nice.
But which one would you say I watched the most? Because I'm a sci-fi nerd. So like he's really heavy horror and I'm horror, but I'm really heavy sci-fi and fantasy, and he's still horror and a little bit of comedy, and I'm like comedy.
I say Bram Stoker's.
Yeah. So I look at it on the sense of like, what do I watch the most? But then what am I collecting for?
Bram
Right.
Stoker's.
And Bram Stoker's Dracula, anything I can get my hands on, especially from the original 1992 release, it's coveted.
That's your...
It's my coveted Yeah, so I'd probably go with that if you consider it a horror movie. Some people don't.
Yeah.
I can understand it. You know, it's kind of slow and romantic. It's got boobs.
Technically, it's also a puppet movie.
Horror movies have boobs.
Yeah, exactly. If there's bloods and boobs, I'm in.
Yeah, me too. Yep,
Yeah,
that's the staple.
solid answer.
I like that answer. I don't think I've ever had anybody ever say that movie.
It's
I like that.
Yeah, I don't
Good-
think most people
good answer.
consider it to be a horror movie. I think what most people, when you ask them for a horror movie, they immediately, their brain goes to either psychological horror, religious horror, slashers especially.
Yeah,
I think is the first thing
slashers.
most people think about. And because I would say that your favorite horror genre is religious.
Oh, I love religious horror.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. I have a pretty in-depth religious background to the point where I almost became a priest.
Oh.
The story.
Oh,
The
hey.
story. So religious horror for me is pretty much the only thing that really, truly terrifies me.
Can you recommend any movies that you can think of?
So I think my favorite religious horror movie is probably one that I don't know for certain, but I think people probably look at it and go, it's a stupid movie. But Deliver Us from Evil
Good.
with
Oh,
Eric
okay.
Bana,
Yeah.
that exorcism scene,
Whoosh.
I got goosebumps right now.
Yeah.
And I would think that if there was ever a moment in horror movie history
You like
where
Possessions.
where it got it right, it would be that. I mean, of course, it was over the top, but it was
Yeah.
like so intense.
Really
It was
intense.
good though.
Yeah,
was
it was
very intense.
terrifying. I
Yeah.
remember watching. The first time I saw it, it was a drive-in in Atlanta, Georgia. It scared me shitless. And but yeah,
All right.
boom, boom.
I like how it felt like you were. They didn't take it to Hollywood in the sense that like you felt you could have probably walked in that room and
Oh, I
that's
love
the
the
conditions
doors.
it would have
Yeah.
been. Like it was very realistic, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And talking about this, it just reminded me of not a story, but more of a connection that actually comes back to you guys that is connected with us. So a lot of people ask us how we met. You know, what's our story?
How did we meet?
And
I'm just
technically, we met over Instagram, over
Okay.
an Elvira pinball machine.
Elvira pinball machine. I
Yeah,
want one so bad.
we both grew up playing one, and he had posted a picture that he was playing one somewhere, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so jealous!" And that's how we kind of like became friends. But what got us actually talking one-on-one is that, you know, a lot of times you follow people on Instagram and you also follow them on Twitter and stuff like that. You've never spoken before, right? So I was on Twitter, which I barely ever used, and I happened to see his post where he was asking people for vampire movie suggestions. And I was like, I've got a good one. Not many people have seen this. It's one of my favorites. And so I told him what it was, and then I was like, oh, you know what? That's a really hard one to find. I better send him a message so that he knows where he can find it, or if I can provide a link for him, because it's very obscure. At the time, anyway, it was very obscure. And to this day, I was not able to find that on like a good condition DVD, and especially not Blu-ray because of the rarity of it. But they finally put it on a Blu-ray, and you guys had it. So the last time we visited, I was like, "Oh my god!" And I bought it.
Oh, good.
And that
Awesome.
movie was Vampire Journals by Full Moon
Vampire
Productions.
Journals. Yes, that's a good one.
The really good one. I love the music from that so much, and like, if you're listening, it was very good booby positioning. The boobs were great.
Yes.
Just saying.
Love it.
Yeah, that was our beginnings.
Yeah, no one ever talks about that movie, so yeah, that's. A
I
good
love
one.
it. To this
Yeah.
day, I suggest it to people all the time.
I like that. I like when people say different movies that people don't talk
Yeah.
about.
I feel like everybody knows Subspecies, but they don't know Vampire Journals, and I
Right.
kind of worked out around the same era
Mm-hmm.
with Full Moon Productions.
There's so
That
many
was that was
Subspecies
my
movies.
introduction, and then I found out about Subspecies because they're mentioned in that one scene, Raoul or whatever. Yeah, I thought it was great.
Full Moon likes to do that. They like to mention another movie from in another movie, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Hey, good marketing.
yes, it's a good movie.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No, that's always my main question. I just want to know.
That's a good question. I think that's probably one of the top 3 questions that we get is what's our favorite horror movie? And I think a lot of times we do answer both Halloween because it's probably the one movie that I don't care how many times I've seen it. I will put that movie on just to feel good. Love the original 1978. And sure, Bram Stoker's Dracula too, but you almost have to sometimes be in the right mind to watch it if you've watched it so much, because like the music can get a little bit like invasive.
Yeah.
You know, until like if you're just putting it on in the background, especially certain scenes, you're like, man, why is my heart pumping right now? And it's like, oh, it's that one scene. It was like, yeah. But Halloween, I don't care what I'm doing. It's always a great pick me up.
I like the 1970. I just don't like the new one.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
So, the Grimm Life Collective, every time we do a convention, we like to do this thing called the Grimm Interview, which basically is just one question. And we go up to different horror celebrities, and a lot of times they get asked, what was it like working with so-and-so?
Yeah.
You know, oh, I love your favorite, you know, this and that. And they get asked the same questions over and over and over again. So we devised this single question that is going to be something that they've never been asked before. And I'd like to ask you the Grimm question.
Okay.
Now, there could be a lot of instances, but try to keep it to like the first thing that comes to mind. All right. And the question is, in your career with Nightmare Toys, in your travels, whether it's at a convention or here in the store, what's one thing that really sticks out in your mind that goes, man, I can't believe that just happened?
Yeah, I have that. So for me, it would be when we had the store in Alabama and we had our very first signing, and it was Butch Patrick. And his wife actually called. And I'm just sitting there at the store, and nothing's going on, because in Alabama, we're just kind of just sitting there for a few hours, and it wasn't busy like it is here. Then I'm just sitting there, and I get a phone call. Hi, Nightmare Toys. And it's Butch Patrick's wife. And she's like, hey, you know, we're driving through town here and on a Thursday or whatever. We'd like to just stop in, and we can do a signing, you know, for free. And, you know, we just want to stop in and do that. I'm like, okay, you know, yeah, you know, why would I even say no to that? So yeah, they came, and I think that would be my moment, because that was our first signing, and it was Butch Patrick, you know, and I grew up with the monsters.
That started the addiction.
Yeah, so it would be that moment. That was just awesome for me. I just couldn't believe like his wife's calling, and then they're just here in Alabama,
right?
And they're in my store, and we only had like 2 days to advertise, but we had a nice little turnout that day, you know. So yeah, that's my moment. He was so nice, just such a nice man.
Yeah, he was really nice.
That was exciting for me.
I got to pick Kane Hodder up in our Nightmare Toys van and drive him around, and that was when I was like, holy shit, this is pretty cool. And it was so funny because I pulled up to the hotel to pick him up to bring him here for the signing. And I'm in the Nightmare Toys van, which is a like one of the Sprinter vans, you know, with the real high roof. It's matte black, and it's got our logo huge all over it. I'm this far from Kane, and he's just standing there. And you know, you don't ever know what to say. I don't know if he's doing something, or you know, he's got some process before he gets in a car or whatever. And so I get out, and I'm like, hey, I'm Philip from Nightmare Toys, here to pick you up. And he kind of looks at me, and he looks at the van, and he goes, God damn, how did I miss that? And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, it couldn't be bigger. You know, you couldn't have been a bigger sign of me to get in the car. And then he was like, all right, let's go do this. And so we're coming down the road here, and he's like, wait, stop. And there's a guy dressed up, you know, cosplaying, and he rolls the window down, and he's yelling at everybody, you know, that's lining up for the signing. And it was just it's cool to be riding around with Kane Hodder, you know. Yeah. So yeah, I was like, oh, this is pretty damn cool here.
That actually happened to me a couple of times today with people wearing our shirts, and it was not the first thing I saw at all.
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, Who are those guys?
Yeah.
Jerks. So I gotta ask you the same question because it's been a while now. What is your moment of, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening?
There's so many.
First comes mine.
So the first one, the first one that comes to mind is Doug Bradley. Our Halloween special this year. We've had some pretty amazing things happen over the lifetime of the Grimm Life Collective, but sitting with the King of Hell in a rocking chair on Buffalo Bill's porch from Silence of the Lambs talking about Halloween is just like...
Yeah.
I thought getting a personal tour of Tom Savini's house was the top. And again, does it get any better than this? And yes, it does.
That's insane.
And that. And to some people, Tom Savini is like the best thing for them. But like, I remember, Tom, you watch these movies growing up, Friday the 13th, Jason Voorhees coming out of the water and like all these other movies. But you never really realize who Tom Savini is growing up. The name, you know what I mean? But Hellraiser and Hellraiser 2 Hellbound scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Like Frank. I mean, and to just sit next to him on a rocking chair. And I think we had a beer and we were just chit-chatting and laughing about this train that was coming like 30 feet away. I mean,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Doug Bradley's very nice.
He's so sweet. He's so soft-spoken.
Yes.
His voice is so soft. And one of the things I love about watching him talk, I get very excited when he talks, is hearing his history about the movies he's seen as a kid actually, like, literally scared him. And then I'm always sitting here over going, like, no horror movies ever scared me, but I thought they were cool as hell. I'd be like, whoa, look at that. I was like, wow, what did they do to get it to look like that? Like, I was so fascinated, just kind of like, that's a thing that happens. Like, that's cool. That's
okay,
cool,
now
man.
you sound like me. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Nothing ever scared me, and I was the same way. I was like, oh, that's cool. Look at
There's
that. Oh, neat.
One classic slasher, I think, that actually did scare me, and it was Freddy.
Okay.
And I think the only thing that scared me about it wasn't the first movie. It was Dream Warriors, the third one.
Okay.
Philip.
The puppet.
Philip. Yes.
I think that's one of the few things that actually scared the crap out of me when I was a kid, and then I was afraid of him.
That was
like
my
I had
favorite.
to like make sure the blankets were all right and you weren't hanging over the bed kind of thing. Which he never crawled out from underneath the bed. He wasn't a boogeyman, but it was a sleep thing. So it's like if I do this before I fall asleep, I'll be blanket all the way up to here. I'll be fine, And then I hit like 13, and I was like, whatever.
That's crazy because my story's a little similar too.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have two moments in movies that kind of just spooked me out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And mine was Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2.
Okay.
And it's the whole beginning with the bus. Because I was a kid that rode a bus.
Yeah,
so I always had in my head that our bus driver's going to run off into a field somewhere and then the ground's going to go, That kind of freaked me out a little bit. But the rest of the movie didn't. But just that part.
Yeah.
And then one of my most favorite movies, The Changeling with George C. Scott. Have you ever seen that? The Changeling. The seance scene is just spooky. That always gives me the heebie-jeebies. I don't care how old I am. I don't care if I have the lights on or off or whatever. That little seance scene in The Changeling is always just like, ooh.
I think I've gotten more spooked out as an adult by certain movies. Like, because he falls asleep so early, I'm just often watching movies until 3 a.m. There was one time he woke up to locked doors.
Yeah, she locked all the doors, and I was like, what's wrong? She was freaking out. I don't remember what movie it was. Oh, it was
Roanoke.
American Horror Story Roanoke.
Oh.
I don't know why. It was one of the first few episodes.
She ran through the house and locked the doors behind her so that she would like lock her, cut off.
I hadn't gotten
to the
that
bathroom
feeling
and
in
back,
a long
and I was
time.
what the-
Like where you feel like the darkness is right on your heels.
Yeah.
And for some reason that movie, it gave it to me. And I was one of those people who, when Blair Witch came out, because there was so much hubbub going on, it overdid it for me. I didn't enjoy the movie. I thought it was like really
Me too.
overblown. I hated, and I still do. I'm not a huge fan of found
neither.
footage films.
Yeah.
I just it almost makes me like a little dizzy, I guess.
Yeah.
But one night, I must be in my early 20s. I was staying with my parents for some reason, and they all went out, and I was like, I don't want to go. Y'all go have fun. Go have a date night. You know, you don't need me to go with you. And the house that they were in at the time was a 2-story, but it had those sliding glass doors, you know, that went into a big yard. So at night, of course, it's pitch black, and all you see against the windows is that blackness, right? And it came on TV, and I was like, I'll give it a shot. It's like October-ish, you know, Halloween time. I was like, I'll watch it. I haven't given it a shot since it came out, you know. And I scared the shit out of myself. Suddenly those big doors where I could hear the trees and the nature and stuff like that. And it was too real. It got way too real. And I think it was because I was more of an adult when I saw it. And like the reality of horrors, not like the, oh my God, that was spooky as a kid horror. Like the reality of like something coming out of my backyard or something like that. Because I grew up in the country too, or camping, whatever it is, you know, it's like that's more real than people think it is. Yeah. And I spooked myself. All the lights were on when they came home, you know, and things like that. And they're like, why do you have it? I was like, look, hey, I had a moment. All right. I'm really happy you're home though. I'm just saying I spooked myself. Yeah.
You know, everybody who there's like rules, right? There's rules to horror movies and stuff like that. You familiar with the artist, musician Tom Waits?
Mm-hmm.
Mm. I don't think so. I don't know.
Well,
you've know.
Okay.
You're going to be introduced to Tom Waits sometime soon because we're talking about it.
Okay.
Everybody always remembers the first time.
He actually played Renfield in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
But everybody always remembers the first time they hear Tom Waits. It's that kind of like music that's just kind of like whatever. And the same thing with horror movies. Everybody usually remembers the first not the first horror movie, but the first
that made an
setting,
impact.
Right? Mm-hmm. And for me, growing up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, there was a video store called West Coast Video. Mm-hmm. And my mom, she would take us down there, and it sounds so cliche. She would, rent whatever you want. So me and my sister would go in there, get 3 videotapes each, go home and watch it. And I, just like everybody else, cliche, loved the horror box art.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the first movie I ever watched, and I remember watching it like 3 o'clock in the morning, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Complete black, the sunspots came on, the room turned blood red, and I went, what the hell am I doing? But you know what movie terrified me the most growing up?
What's that?
When I saw Fantasia in the movie theater.
Really?
The
We
dancing
still talk about
brooms
this.
terrified me.
I feel like I've heard somebody else say that before.
The dancing brooms, that whole scene, like that chaos, and God, I can't watch it to this day. I'll watch horror movies, whatever, but not Fantasia.
Huh.
The first time I think I took you to what would have been Hollywood Studios now. Before they redid it. It was like MGM Studios or something. I don't remember. At Disney World in Orlando. Out front, they had these monster-sized brooms, like in a circle, as if they were doing their thing. And he was like, like he was horrified by these things. And I was like, what is your problem? I was like, it's Fantasia. Everybody loves Fantasia. He's like, no, they don't.
That and birds. I don't like birds. Birds terrify
And fabric.
Me. And fabric.
It's a long-running joke.
Do you not like the movie Birds? You just don't like birds in general?
I just don't like birds.
Okay, okay,
the little, like, winged creatures of death. No.
I think that's a tall people thing because every other person I've met who's felt the same way has been very tall, and he's 6'2", so that kind of makes sense.
But
I just think they're cute.
Fabric is my downfall. That's
okay.
my kryptonite. Laying down at night in your bed. This is your bed. This is you. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Occasionally you get that. No. I will freak out until this is perfectly fine and for a good 10 minutes before I'm okay. And like I lose my mind. The same thing with like this. Sitting in my fabric folds, I lose it. I can't do it.
It's the funniest thing in the world to me. I love it.
There you go.
Oh, he has. We all have these little quirks,
Little
right?
quirks,
but like
yeah.
when
Oh,
you're
yeah,
laying down
definitely.
and everything's like calm and serene, and like you think you're getting sleepy, and then someone starts screaming, "Fabric, fabric, fabric!"
Thanks.
I
I
love
could have left that part out, huh?
Yeah, cut that one.
But that's the greatest thing about phobias is there is no rationale to them at all. And I love when people have arachnophobia because I think spiders are so cute. But they're like, you're weird. And I'm like, I know, but not because of this. Other reasons, but spiders are adorable.
There you go. I don't like them. They're creepy crawly. No.
Right.
I love them.
Spiders and bees. I can't take it. Can't take bees or wasp or any of that kind of stuff.
I've actually, I grew up country, like deep country. So like I have at some point in my life skinned deer, gutted deer, things like that. I mean, we were deep country. And one of my most favorite things to do sometimes when I have time to myself and it's around is to like actually just watch nature happen. And in one of my old houses in Orlando, I used to watch wasps building their nest, and they have like a nanny breed that'll take care of like the young and stuff like that. And I would just sit there and watch them. They'd be like, I'm like, no, I'm just here to observe. Okie dokie then. And they go about their way. And I've never been stung, not a single time in my life. And I've been around them like so much, and I've never been stung by anything.
Wow.
It's just like a
You're
calm
lucky then.
thing. They only become like alert, like small bugs, if you start like moving like this,
Moving.
because then they feel threatened. But so I've always tried to remember that, even if I get a little nervous. And knock on wood, I haven't been stung yet.
I have.
Yeah, me too. Me
Right.
too.
Right in my boob. Actually. I don't know how that happened. I'm just driving, the window's down, and then it just came in and stabbed.
Oh, that sucks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was not fun.
No.
I don't like bees.
I like
No
that we've
bees.
like parlayed into like things that we're afraid of, because it's all in connection to horror movies.
Oh,
I
yeah, of
think.
course.
Yeah. So if you watch something like Arachnophobia, do you get bothered?
No.
Just if they're in person.
Right.
Yeah, just in person. But no, not on TV.
I'm not scared of any of it.
No.
I just don't want to be around it.
Like if you were to look at you, you can feel like the legs on you. Is that like a creepy crawly feeling if you were to see it out?
No, I just don't want to be bitten by any of it.
That's
You know,
fair.
I just
We'll be
don't
out
want to.
filming and a bird will fly really close to my head and I will scream.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes. It's
Yes.
no fun. Like
No.
they come for me. I know they do. But anyhow.
So early on when we'd be
birds
filming,
love you.
No, they don't.
we had this inside joke for a while that he'd be off filming something, and because we got to a point where we had a rig where he didn't need my help anymore, because I used to be, more hands-on, that he'd go to ask me something, and I've done fucked off, and like I'm over in the grass playing with like some insect I found, or like their husks and things like that, and he's like, oh, and where'd Jessica go? And of course she's in the dirt playing with the animals and playing with the bugs, and I'm like, bugs. Now I've learned to not run off like a toddler. It's like, don't go too far. It's like, I won't.
She still runs off.
I still run off. Yeah, I do. I can't help it.
Gotta go off and explore.
Yeah.
What did they call you?
Who? You?
Yeah, Dora the Grim Explorer.
Yeah.
Oh, how cute. I love that.
Dora the Grim Explorer. Yeah.
So how old were y'all when you first got into horror movies? I know I was 5.
I was between 6 and 8
6 and 8.
whenever I saw Texas Chainsaw.
Okay.
I feel like probably like you, I've seen them since I was really young, but I wasn't like cognitively aware of them until a little bit older. But I feel like they've always been in my life. I can't remember a time when I wasn't watching some form or another of a genre of horror, whether it was, thriller, suspense, right? Or, especially dark stuff like The Dark Crystal and Legend are my other top 2. So like Bram Stoker's Dracula, Dark Crystal, and Legend. Such dark movies for a child.
Yeah.
And those were the loves of my life. Like to this day, the first time I saw Legend, I was like, what is this? What am I watching?
Isn't it?
Can I get more of it? I was just like enchanted.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird that like you can joke about saying this, you can jokingly say this, but looking back as kids growing up in the 80s, some of the stuff that was on TV for children was pretty freaking terrifying.
It was pretty dark.
Yeah, it was.
Like, you look back at it and, like, Shining Time Station, you guys remember that? Or
Yeah.
the Elephant Show?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, Shining Time Station was the little train conductor that would come up, and it was just bizarre. George Carlin. He was in a
Yeah.
kid show.
I always thought that was such a strange placement for him. It's like, well, it's not that he doesn't love kids and whatever. It's not that he's not a family man, but it's like piss, shit, fuck, you know, the names you're not supposed to say on TV, and that's not how you know him by. And it's like, and they let him on a children's show. Well, I mean, you know, everybody has to live their life. I mean, I was a child and I was fine with it. I knew who he was with his stand-up and I wasn't bothered.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I just, yeah.
You kind of almost
just how
watch
it
it waiting
was.
for him to, like, slip up maybe, you know?
Right.
And you're
Yeah.
like, hey, George Carlin,
Yeah.
what do you got to say? You know?
Yeah.
I love the 80s.
Yeah.
I missed it. I'm glad I'm glad I grew up as a horror fan in the 80s, because
Yeah.
then I could watch the 80s movies in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know, and go to the video store and see the VHS with the cover art and do, you know.
And then
Okay,
when you
which-
move the display box and the one you want is gone.
It's gone, God,
They will
and you're
never
so
know the
just like,
pain of that. And
I
then
know.
going up to the desk to see if it's been returned but hasn't
Yep.
been put out on the shelf yet.
Yep.
Yep.
Or it's still not returned. And you're like, oh, maybe
you
next
have
Friday.
The top loader or the front loader VHS tape? VHS player?
I
I
had
had both.
I think I had
Yeah.
both.
Both.
Now, in my bedroom, I had a Beta.
A beta.
The other one, the other kind, whatever's in the
VHS.
living room. Yeah, that's in the living room. I had the Beta, so yeah.
That's cool.
And my parents had recorded tons and tons of movies off of like HBO. That's how I was able to watch a lot of horror movies, HBO. And then my parents record movies off of there. So I had tons of movies. Like on one tape, I would have Breakfast Club and then The Exorcist on one tape.
That's cool.
You know, and then I was watching both.
Yeah.
So
The Brexorcist.
right? Right? So, yeah, I've been watching them since I was 5. Michael Jackson's Thriller video is what started it for me. That's when I watched that and then became just like, oh my God, I want to know how all this is made. I want to know this. And then they came out with the Making of Thriller, which I watched every day religiously.
Mind-blowing, right? I
Right.
remember being so just like,
They need that in Blu-ray.
they do this as like a job?
Yeah.
Just like being blown away that this job existed, that people could do that before learning who like Tom Savini was and things like that. And then
Right.
your brain starts working while you watch things. And that was a game changer, like so eye-opening, because now you're watching movies and you're going, trying to figure it out.
Yep.
I have 2 memories from grade school.
Okay.
And both of them have to do with show and tell. The first one is I took Michael Jackson's Thriller on vinyl to show and tell, and I played it for the class.
Nice.
I was that kind of kid. And the
They
other
had
one,
a record player in the classroom?
I brought my own record player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was cool,
That's awesome.
right? And then the second one
I would have been your
was
friend.
Yeah, me too.
this is a painful moment for me. I can't believe I'm going to say it. So I thought it'd be a great idea to bring my sea monkeys to class. And I had them on the school bus, and the bus hit a bump, and I dropped them, and they died. So they never made it to show and tell.
Oh, no.
But that's all I remember. Like,
I
I'm
could-
getting all teary-eyed.
Every time he mentions this memory, like it breaks my heart. I love it.
So,
Oh, no, I'm so sorry.
Thriller and Death. Great school for me.
Yeah.
There you go.
I feel like probably one of the earliest ones that we've all seen, but I didn't really like make the connection when I was younger that it was supposed to be a horror movie, would have been It, the
Okay.
original, like the
Yeah.
television series one, because like it's not that Tim Curry in It wasn't scary. It's just that before I saw that, or maybe around the same time, I was seeing him in other things.
The Worst Witch.
Yeah. Oh God, The Worst Witch. I loved it. The whole like the series and then the movie. Yeah. We didn't have cable or anything. We just had PBS, and then someone had a tape that you could borrow, or someone was watching TV, or we'd watch channels over there. And it didn't dawn on me until I was a lot older that it was meant to be a horror movie, because I didn't find it. I almost thought it was a little goofy.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Yeah, I did
And then
too.
everyone's like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "Really? Oh, okay.
Yep.
If you say so."
I agree. It's no, yeah.
I know our time is coming to a close, but if you haven't done it yet, I'm going to say one more thing.
Okay.
Do yourself a favor and look at Tim Curry's music videos if you've never seen them. So back whenever Tim Curry was doing Rocky Horror Picture Show in like the 70s, he was also a musician.
Like full on, like not even as a joke. That was like his career.
And he has 2 music videos, one called Paradise Garage. Oh, you're going to love it. And the second one is I Do the Rock.
Nice.
It'll change your world.
Oh, I'm going to have to go listen to these. Because I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
They're little beautiful gems of cringe.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Although
I don't know if you're going to enjoy it, but you have to watch it.
Oh, you'll enjoy it. What you should do, because today is what, Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what your plans are tonight. Go home, open up YouTube, watch those 2 music videos, then do yourself a favor and do a double feature of the Rocky Horror Picture Show and the sequel, Shock Treatment.
Okay.
And then you'll be set.
I'm still not sure if I've seen Shock Treatment.
That might be a good thing.
I haven't.
It's fun, but it's different. And a lot of the same characters have been there, are still in there.
My favorite Tim Curry movie is Clue.
Clue.
I love Clue. I love that game.
Yeah.
I'd always bother everybody to play that board game with me. Because it's a mystery game. I want to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I like Clue. That's my fave.
I like having these conversations, and in my head it makes me start realizing like how many movies were probably meant to be horrors, but I never thought they were horrors because it seemed more erotic than horrific. And it's like things like The Hunger. And
Yeah.
I've always been in love with vampires ever since I was at itty bitties. I can remember being in kindergarten and they're like, okay, so here's your first trip to the library. You can pick out anything you want. And what did I do? I brought home a book on vampires, and I thought it was real. I was like, well, they have a book about it. And you're flipping through the pages, and I now know that was clips from black and white movies from back in the day. But for when you see a black and white picture, which me thinking is real, of a lady laying in her casket looking all young and pretty, and the very next picture is her shriveled and dead and like all this blood and stuff, I legit thought it was real. And I remember being terrified and being like, and I was like, they killed one? Are there still more? I think, like, I don't know, is The Hunger meant to be a horror movie, or is it more of an erotic thriller? I think that's where, like, genres start crossing the line a little bit and getting fuzzy.
It kind of meshes a little bit.
Yeah, because everyone who's probably a horror fan, I would think at least knows about the film, right?
It was intended as a Disney script.
Oh, was it?
No.
Well, that's why. Okay. But I don't remember David Bowie singing that one.
Can you imagine that was Disney?
Well, any other questions?
Nope.
Burning questions you want to ask?
Nope.
All right. Well, guys, where can everybody find you on social media?
The wonderful words, Grimm with 2 M's, Life, like the game, Collective, like you're collecting something. Anywhere, including a .com, and that'll get you to us.
Awesome. And so if somebody wanted to buy some merchandise or any of that, it's all on your site?
And oddly, not many people realize this. How long has YouTube been around? It's been around for quite some time. Any YouTube video you watch, if you look in the description of the video, you'll find all the pertinent links to what you need. That's it.
Cool.
All right. Well, we'll include a link to their stuff. Anything else? All right, Dante, take us home.